All right, 8th graders, this is the human world, chapter 4. This will require one input, one output. Inputs on the right, outputs on the left. Follow that pattern. Okay, so the human world. We're going to look at world population. Population growth, 6.5 billion people, only on 30% of the land that is available to the world. So I remember hearing in class today, people ask questions about overpopulation. Maybe in certain areas like large urban populations or in some countries, but overall, there's a lot more room. So demographic transition. Scientists look at birth rates and death rates to see how population changes. Birth rate goes up, death rate goes down. What happens to population? Vice versa. So we need to be able to look at those different ways that the demographics change. With a growing world, population, goods, resources become scarce. Without ways to feed people, clothe people, those things become scarce, and when things become scarce, the price of them goes up. So negative population growth is when the death rate is higher than the birth rate. We don't really want that. They need to be kind of close to each other, but every once in a while we get the death rate that goes above it. Specific countries might have a death rate that's higher than their birth rate. Continuing with world population, the population distribution defined as the pattern of human settlements. Where do people live? Population density, or how many people living in a certain area of the world. Population movement, this is always changing. People are moving from city to suburb to rural, depending on where you are in your life, what type of economic system you have, religious system, social system. And 50% of the world lives in cities around the world. So right now what we have here is an interesting map that shows countries based on the population that they have. There's some countries you can't even see. China and India have huge populations, so they look bigger. Russia is not a very heavily populated area, even though it's one of the largest, if not it is the largest country. By population, it's very small. Japan, a small island, much larger. India, United States, Brazil. So it's kind of an interesting look at what the map would look like if it was based on how much population each country had. Global cultures, elements of culture. Culture is what groups believe and what the group has in common. So language, how a group speaks. Religion, what a group believes. Social groups, people that share common language. History and place of origin. Government and economy. Government maintains order, and economy has to do with money. So when you hear the word economics or economy, it's making money for the country, for the people, for individuals. Culture regions, areas on earth that share a common culture. So like places like Jamaica, the Caribbean, a lot of them have very similar cultural beliefs and how they live their lives. Cultural change, the agricultural revolution. This was 10,000 years ago. People hunted for meat and gathered naturally growing fruit. And then early man started saying, put a seed in the ground. Now I get a plant. Now I can eat. Now I don't have to chase my food around. Civilization develops. Farming is there. Animals become domesticated. Then we have another revolution called the Industrial Revolution. About 250 years ago, industrialization rapidly took place during the 1700s and 1800s. Goods were then produced cheaper, faster, giving greater access to the people in the industrialized areas. Here we have a picture from the agricultural revolution. We have an Egyptian man milking a cow. You have a bull there. Shows them using animals. Then we have some pictures of factory looms making paper, child workers during the early 20th century, and more factories. So this made things faster, cheaper for more people. Politics and economics. We have different types of government. We have an autocracy, that means ruled by one person. A monarchy, ruled by a king or queen. An oligarchy, a small group of people rule. A democracy is ruled by the consent of the people or the governed. Then economic systems. A traditional economy is based on the traditions of the people, the elders, what the community views as the best way to do things. A market economy. Individuals and private companies decide what type of goods and products that will be produced. A command economy, the government owns all the means of production and can decide what will be produced. Communism and socialism are examples of a command economy. Both have government control. Socialism has a little bit more freedom. And under this, the government dictates more of the daily life of citizens. Where you can shop, what jobs you can have, where you can buy things, what type of health care you can choose. So this is a little example that kind of explains more of what the market economy is and the command economy is. So just study these and make sure you can differentiate between the differences. So make sure you do your input-output for Chapter 4 and be ready to discuss what was in the reading and in the video.